Ahem, ahem, ahem. All right, let's do it. So, I've been being yelled at by some of my view bots recently saying, "Yo, you don't pay us enough to view bot your channel." Which way was I going? Probably this way. My one main view bot was actually commenting on a video, but I uploaded it to the wrong channel, right? Um, anyways, if you're watching, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will give you a cookie. Actually, we'll do a Terraria stream at 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. So prepare for that in about a week or so. Alright? Now today I wanted to get started on building a house in Minecraft, but I don't really like birch wood, you know? Birch is kinda too white for me. You have to go with the classic oak, right? I've been, as I was trying to get all motivated in the last video and stuff, I've been failing to my addictions again. Today I just came home, did maybe an hour and 30 minutes worth of physics questions, and then I just watched Midwest Safety for the entire afternoon. Do be granted, they make absolutely amazing videos, but I really don't feel like I should be doing anything other than actually being productive, right? Actually improving the state of my mind. And Midwest Safety and all of those other channels, they aren't actually improving your situation, right? They're only showing you how people react to things. That's a lot like, that was weird. Why were there flowers there? They're a lot like video games. If you're merely reacting to things around you, are you really living your life to its fullest? If you're merely changing how you act based on what happens around you, based on the stimuli that occurs in your environment, are you really experiencing the full of what life has to offer? No. Humans in this modern day and age are about developing things that are new. We aren't about, as I've said this many times, we aren't meant to take okay for our entire lives. We aren't meant to sit back and relax once we've gone into reproductive safety, right? And we'll never be like that. Speaking of the Midwest Safety videos, I saw a lot of people with criminal histories. People who didn't want to improve their lives whatsoever. And those are the most vile people that can live in a society. There are people who don't deserve the taxes and the things that we give them. Because people with criminal records who are allowed out on the street and who keep offending, you can't let them out. You have to... At some point, you just have to say, yo, death sentence for you. You're dead. This is the last time that you shoot 20 people in a Walmart and we let you get away with it, right? The last time. And I feel like that's a real flaw with the modern justice system. If you have these repeat offenders who take other people's lives, I I understand if it's like petty theft or breaking and entering, but if you have these people who take people's lives, you shouldn't allow them to live in society with an access to weapons, with society to that has an access to people who you could deem as physically weaker than them, because they will keep on taking. Now, I'm not encouraging any sort of death sentence, but oftentimes in these modern worlds, rehabilitation has been has not worked. I want a better system of that, because if you just let out if you let out somebody on if you let somebody out of jail on parole, how will you know that they have um changed how they act? If I went back to my ex and she said, "Oh, Tyler, I understand what you meant by stop hurting me, please. Oh, I really didn't mean to break your heart that way." The amount of times we've done that already would have to have her show so much more of a, this is a good place to base, so much more of a compensating gesture, not gesture, in order to gain the trust of me. And the justice system should be no different. If you're having convicted felons go out after only 20 years of just blasting somebody in the face, how can you be so sure that they've changed? You need very, very, very strong indicators of how a person has modified their outlook on life to be not a person who commits crimes anymore, right? You need to be the the judicial system of the United States is in a word broken right now, as seen with some popular online cases uh regarding Legos in specific. It can be abused really easily, and in my eyes that isn't a morally correct system. Now you could fix this with amending gun laws, making prisons times longer, but the people in the United States, from what I've heard, because I don't reside in the United States currently, hopefully I will in 2, maybe 3 years, they like having their guns. You'll never be able to take that away from them. They're very peculiar about it, right? The United States' justice system is one of a great deal of, let's say, disagreement. You're never going to have enough sentencing, and you're never going to have sentencing that is lenient enough for the people who actually develop right. So I propose for any parole board, for any letting somebody out of prison, no matter how long their sentence is, if it's 1 week or 20 years, you do a psychiatric evaluation that lasts more than 1 week on them, lasts more than 5 days, because you don't know if that person has actually changed, right? They could be just saying, "Yes, Your Honor, I, Tyler Peters, will not murder people anymore." But you need actual results back to confirm that, right? You need to say, okay, John Murder, we're not going to let you out until you have proved for a month that you are actually a better person. We're going to secretly psychiatric evaluate you, and maybe we'll put you in lower security, but that's all we're going to do. Because the American legal system is broken. We can't just let you go and peruse the streets when you just killed somebody 10 years ago. The people of the United States and all around the world need to push for a more hands-on legal system. It can't be, oh, they did a crime and we're going to hand everything to one single judge guy. We need to have standards for every single person who commits a crime based on their offenses, which you already have with definitions of felonies and stuff. But you need standardized reflections of what they've done. It can't just be, oh yeah, we'll put you in jail for 700 trillion years and then we'll let you out after that. You need, if you're focusing on a system of rehabilitation rather than, I forget the word, rather than permanent imprisonment, you need to encourage more standards of actual rehabilitation. You can't just let them sit in jail for all that time. Granted, they may be uncooperative, but that's what rehabilitation is for. That's making them cooperative. Now you might be saying, "Dadgummit, Tyler, I demand rights. This isn't right. I thought you were a person who respected me and my goddamn gun license." I do respect you, but you need to see how in the past these things haven't worked and they've gotten more people dead than need to be. And to every single person on this planet who isn't some Buddhist monk who accepts that they aren't important, every single person on this earth values themselves over the entire universe in the heat of a moment. You seriously can't say, I am noble enough that in a split second I would kill myself just to save everyone. No, you can't. That's impossible. I wouldn't. You probably wouldn't. Unless you were like, some John Nobleman who is either depressed or feeling really inspired at that day. Because, face it, your life is the whole universe to you. If the whole universe died, it would be the same as you dying, because they're essentially the same thing, no? And that's why rehabilitation needs to focus on valuing others' lives over you. But that's an impossible thing to do without the death sentence. Now you might be saying, Tyler, the death sentence? That's crazy. Rehabilitation is everything in modern society. If we didn't have rehabilitation, we'd be savages. Dude, if you're killing more if you're killing other people, let's say I killed one person, right? Well, I could justify that and say, Tyler, you killed one person. We have to kill you now. A life for a life. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, in hindsight, yeah, that would make sense, right? If I killed two people, now they're like, Tyler, dude, you killed more people than you've given birth to. You've killed more people than your conscience is actually responsible for. We can't let you go on, man. And that would be an alright justification. But we're giving, in the United States, Canada, every Western country, we just give them 10 years a person. Oh yeah, you can kill this guy, but in 10 years we'll let you go free. And even though your job is ruined, you can probably still buy a gun, yeah. Or actually go beat up some old grandmas on the street, maybe knock their spinal nerve out of adjustment and murder them. The American legal system was so effective when it wasn't corrupt, when it like it is today, when it wasn't just based off of money and the promises that you could get from people. It was so effective because we had the death penalty. Now, I'm not saying the death penalty should be used for petty things like assault or battery, but if you have repeated cases of some guy beating three other guys near to the brink of death, and you have this guy's a repeat offender, you should seriously be consider just killing them. People do have rights, but as Martin Luther King said, something, judge people based off of how they act, not of their skin color. Clip that, Fish. You should, in modern society, you shouldn't let repeat offenders who have murdered people live. I personally, that is just a bias that I have against these repeated offenders. You may say otherwise and say, Tyler, rehabilitation is a good thing and we should let everybody have it. But I agree with you on that, but the current rehabilitation system in the United States of America, in Europe, maybe not Europe, in Canada, is broken. And that needs to be fixed, right? We can't just let convicted criminals go around free. We have to do some sort of psychiatric thing. I'd love your opinions. Please tell me in the comments and on Discord and email. I need your attention. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. This has been Tyler. Peace.